Hello world and welcome to Podcast in A Minor, where I bring you the weird little songs I write, and I give you the stories behind them. Weird stories, funny stories, freaky stories, or whatever the world gives us in its glorious mystery. And now, for today's opening song. On my deathbed, never I wish I had spent more time in algebra. Give me poetry. In anguish, presence of splendorous night, give me song. In famished finitude of glorious poet, give me whiskey. And smoke how I smoke, onward smoking and smoking on. Pacing dizzying dizzy under light of angels, pressed and pondered of monsters in the clouds, jellyfish realm in shrouds. Cosmos Gilder, your ways enrobe your own. Human eyes can only view the scene and groan. Hello world and welcome to Podcast in A Minor. I'm Amy Zollers McAnally, a poet and an artist, and I'm in one of my moods. You just heard Drunken Tercets on the Taylor Gemini Mini acoustic guitar. And hey there, poetry freaks. National Poetry Month continues with this poem to song. The poem, also titled Drunken Tercets, can be found in the Moon Devoured section of A Howling Breakfast of Moon Soda, 4 chapbooks in 1. Available at Amazon under the author name Amy Zollers, as it was published in 2022. So what is a tercet? It's a set of 3 lines of poetry. A 3-line stanza or a 3-line poem. Rhyme it or don't. And so there we go. A one little tiny class on poetry form. The music theory of poetry, if you like. Go forth and write a tercet right after this episode, of course. Clearly, I don't always bother with form, but sometimes it is just the thing. A divine little puzzle, a lark, food for the soul. Today, we'll dig into some moon poetry, and then I plan to read Moon Devoured from cover to cover. That is the handmade chapbook that came before the 4 chapbooks in 1. Moon Devoured is the second. When I was doing 1 a month, I did little handmade chapbooks. I ended up doing, 2 that I actually handmade. 3, Hot Soda, Moon Devoured, and Maple Syrup Collides with Ham. And then a 4th that I didn't do into a handmade chapbook, and that was Psychophonic Howling, but did add to the collection, A Howling Breakfast of Moon Soda. All right. So we're going to look at moon poetry since we're also looking at Moon Devoured. And my cat is doing all kinds of kooky stuff, so let's see how it goes. For moon poetry, I have assembled a String of Pearls poem combining lines from poems about the moon by other poets. First, I will read the String of Pearls poem, then I will give very brief biographies of each contributing poet along with the title of their poems from which I mined. String of Pearls combining moon poems, delirious avenues lit with the chandelier souls of infusoria from Pharaoh's tombstones, but through the blessed darkness she gleamed, his friendly saint. Thee, fully forth emerging, silent gazing, pondering the themes thou lovest best, pale goddess of the witching hour, wandering companionless among the stars that have a different birth and ever-changing like a joyless eye, and immortality mildews in the museums of the moon, nocturnal cyclops, crystal concubine, How many tongues does the flower speak? She talks, talks, and knows not what she does. She keeps me for dinner. She combs her hair upward. Yet we'll go no more a-roving by the light of the moon. And that is our string of pearls of moon poetry by other poets. And our contributors were Mina Loy, born in London in 1882. Mina Loy has been labeled as a futurist, Dadaist, surrealist, feminist, conceptualist, modernist, and postmodernist. Known for both her poetry and visual art, she died in Colorado in 1966. And Lunar Baedeker was the poem that I got the lines from. Vachel Lindsay, 1879 to 1931, who traded poems for food while wandering the United States on foot. He wrote more than 30 poems about the moon. The Moon is a Painter is the title of the poem that I found some lines in. Percy Shelley, 1792 to 1822, English romanticist in both its extremes of joyous ecstasy and brooding despair. Romanticism's major themes: restlessness and brooding, rebellion against authority, interchange with nature, the power of the visionary imagination and of poetry, the pursuit of ideal love, and the untamed spirit ever in search of freedom. All of these Shelley exemplified in the way he lived his life, and they live on in the substantial body of work that he left to the world. His poem was To the Moon. Walt Whitman, he celebrated democracy, nature, love, and friendship. This monumental work chanted praises to the body as well as to the soul, and that's Leaves of Grass, and found beauty and reassurance even in death. Along with Emily Dickinson, Whitman is regarded as one of America's most significant 19th century poets and would influence later many poets, including Ezra Pound, William Carlos Williams, Allen Ginsberg, Simon Ortiz, C.K. Williams, and Martin Espada. His poem was titled A Clear Midnight. Mary Darby Robinson, English actress, poet, dramatist, novelist, and celebrity figure. She lived 1757 to 1800 and wrote Ode to the Moon. Tristan Tzara, 1896 to 1963, Romanian avant-garde poet, essayist, and performance artist, journalist, playwright, literary and art critic, composer, and film director. He was best known for being one of the founders and central figures of the anti-establishment Dada movement. The Moon Has Turned Amiss is his poem. George Gordon Lord Byron, flamboyant romantic poet of the 19th century, popular romantic hero, defiant, melancholy, haunted by secret guilt. And he winds us up with lines from the poem, So We'll Go No More a-Roving. Those poet biographies are courtesy of Wikipedia and Poetry Foundation websites. And now, joining them, little me and my chapbook, Moon Devoured. Sit back in your velvet chair with your cup of moon tea as I read the chapbook from cover to cover. Moon Devoured, poems by Amy Zollers. Now Amy Zollers McAnally. At the time, Amy Zollers. There's my cat playing with her toy. To accompany Moon Devoured. School of Lunacy. Adhering to the School of Lunacy, I begin to stand under the moon with my theory at large. Moon exposure, yield insanity. In other words, ciphers of life and death, the universe, sage doings, weighty, serious matters, the keys. Glaze me, moon. My music is lackluster. I stand in the moonlight absorbing insanity. Let us hope so. Paul wanders past, wordless. I watch him stride away toward the quick pantry as the sandalwood of his aftershave lashes me in the seams. What are you doing? He fails to ask. In my mind, I go on and on to his cafe Americano eyes about my lunacy theory and the benefits of moon exposure. The unceremonious urge returns to hack off my hair at the skull, but none of it signifies. On the night of the lunar eclipse, she appears in a roaring 20s chemise, pale green, with her moon song ready. But the quadrangle murmurs with a gawping crowd, jostling and joking. Energies mingle and swap among the gathered, shirring like aurora borealis. Paul is there, cracking uncouth jokes about the Son of God. Even so, his poetic sheen is superior to everyone else's. But whatever. Moon milk vaporizes. Its particles form a single file line and spirograph hurtling. No, glitzing with gingerest instantaneity into the nostrils of the chemise theorist. I am flattered by all of the attention, glows the moon. A song is agreeable to me. Usually no one bothers these days. Here is a Celestine honey tart for that gal. Throbbing with delusions of grandeur, our song-sung theorist repeats her moonbath ritual the following night. That is no delusion, shimmers the air around her, moon milk. A moon message. The muses are upon you. Feast on glitter. That's true, I can tell, she thinks, walking past Paul's now meaningless window. In the purest moonlit patch of green she can find, the grass between two hastily erected 1970s dormitories no longer in use, she strips naked. Amid the spectral darkened windows and soaked in moonbath, she closes her eyes. Augen zu, and sings a luscious, ludicrous, ghostly echo, a choir of long-dead shepherdesses calling flocks homeward at dusk. Glug, glug, filling by degrees with ancient buried wisdom and plagioclase feldspar. Moon devoured. Today I hate my race, my species, and wish for love. Today I hate my time, my tercet, and wish for love, she chant confides after a brandy or two. Devour them, bugs, chisel their scalps with your knowing, healing jaws. A pestilence parade of plagues largely bygone. They're coming down the street now, cried the Lady of Shalott. I've chosen my chaos, I select my muse, and nurse him to health with garlic and sonnets and tisanes. Only we two remain. Drunken Tercets. On deathbed, never I'll wish I had spent more time in algebra. Give me poetry. In anguished presence of splendorous night, give me song. In famished finitude of glorious poet, give me whiskey. And smoke how I smoke, onward, smoking and smoking on. Pacing, dizzying, dizzy under light of angels. Pressed and pondered of monsters in the clouds. Jellyfish realm in shrouds. Cosmos gilder, cosmos builder, your ways enrobed, your own. Human eyes can only view the scene and groan. Trance misinterpreted, mania, luxury, moon-addled, fresh rush of new Dutch slang, hopeless entanglement of universe. I strive to make sense of its maker, to untangle the threads of my maker. Your poem is trash, squawks someone. Oh yeah, by whose rules? Something like that, but kept secret. High to the wayside, none of this figures in, none of this usual signifies a tick. The moon for me alone has spatched to smithereens her vases of broken prayers and lost car keys. All the day I scribe and scribe. By night I moonbathe and listen and sing, sleeping never. I have pooped, she declares, something golden. Tercets to lost objects. They think their prayers were lost, unheard. The child died anyway. Their reason tore and blew away. They thought their tears were fruitless, ignored, despised as dirty weather. Now, though, wiped away forever. Their broken vows and misspent days, each hidden verse and unsung tune, spirited to the wreckage landfill of the moon. Tercets to the angry artists. Are all artists swung around by their tempers, overheated, helpless to manage the plot? Despite all lemon pies and gentleness, they forgot. Are all of the artists temperamental, flaring flashes, overturned tables, amnesiacs of the gentle as I? Diamonds show their best effects against a background of darkness, opulent the spectrum our madness reflects. The original artist who dreamt up seas and their radiant residents and blushed the skies follows sometimes form. We hate this. Disgruntled, our complaint is begrudgment of utter freedom as we lack the eyes to see freedom in the several facets where it lies. Disgruntled, we are chained to this place, chained to its decaying treasures and sea blinking through gelatin-molded swamp mire. Disgruntled, no patience to investigate or comprehend perfect joy from all sides, no flame to trust the ruler of the tides. Disgruntled, our complaint is too many earthbound wishes gone ungranted. We have dressed you, artist, as Santa Claus. Disgruntled, our complaint is inequality, this true and human crime and war and death and grief. We lack the eyes, we lack the eyes, we lack the eyes. Augen zu. Tercets rise melodic from her haunted night throat until the moon is raptured by walls of cloud. A muse appears, corporeal, leggy, leather-clad, soaked in vodka and orange juice. His eyes are monstrous moonstones, embroidering storms of old, waterspouts of tomorrow, watching fierce with completion. A full and steaming carafe. They are moonstone intensity and riveting lullaby as his hand moves toward her hair. Fingernails pierce scalp and secrets flood in. Forgotten tapestries, symphonic poetry, spinets lost to deadly house fires, and heaven's own bell peanettes and ocean harps, drunkening them both. Shami's theorist reaches out hands to clutch his music face. The cheekbones are razors cutting her palms, infecting them with certainty, dexterity, and majestic harmonics, heretofore packed in glaciers and cooled lava for millennia. High to the wayside, none of this figures in, none of this usual signifies a lick. Only the scarcity of tingle must be rectified in song and wander, in shun and of critical voice, in shun of chest beating, academia nervosa. I take to staring, how expertly I stare, flipping the switch, tapping in. All music binds to my insides, braids with my veins, poetica is the blood of my scalp. Things gleam, everyday objects, walls and wallpaper, cocoa pots and goblets, now sequined, elevated to poetry. Words form in ether-strung angelite beads in all ungated colors as I stare. The muse lights my cigarette. I inhale its hazing perfume and experience my death as a musical variety play, all purple and scarlet. The bats are stunning. Their plumes chant the chorus parts. You are death, I tell the muse, and good-looking. I will see you again one day. Our plume hats will greet each other first in Greek. In German, he corrects me with his mind, smiling moonstone orbs and sharp cheekbones. I scribble 10 pages concerning the shape of his nose and our coming death day tango. I can smell the clean cold of lunar soil and hear the earth cracking from distance, some distance from here. Clear, all so clear, so clear. Moonlight bursts from my fingernails. The room is so bright I ask forgiveness. Where a moment ago I combed the song of the moon's heavenly hum, I now sing an old television commercial for toothpaste. I emerge, moon-bathed, moon-swaddled. My hair now streams the color of wine. My earrings dribble, cascading filigree, and I spout my invitations incessant. Take part in this poetical human act. Fill your tank, drown your cup. I am only one in a maudlin mob, one dot in crowning waves of humanity, pounding the sand of the ages, and I decline to throw stones at your song. High to the wayside, none of this figures in, none of this usual signifies a flick. In the night I awake to the moon, devouring my feet, wishing me a more promising furniture polish, scented of Spanish moss and eyebright. In the night I wake to the muse empowering complete, singing incense breath of amorous, the poet's oil, humming a guttural growl that soothes my eyes, my lacking eyes. The muse, now a moon spider, powdery silver, highly reflective, his mandibles smiling to win a sonnet, has wrapped my feet in moon silk while I slept. Now it's 3:15 a.m. and he begins to feast. Good, I say, suddenly filled with an ancient long expectation of this very scene. My internal organs warm and pulse. Gratification seeps into the air. My eyes fall closed, Augen zu, and I sing the names of long extinct diseases, in Dutch, of course, in voices of long extinct musical instruments, the ones that drove you mad. Mapping semitones unlisted, semigloss, semifreddo, semantics, enchantics, lunar antics. I awaken, spiderous and moonstone, gray mood ring, strains of hurdy-gurdy and lyre harp. I have slept on my comfortless ponytail, but no matter. Now plentiful arms harmonize to loosen the knot and massage the stiff place. I am silk now and glittering moonstone, and my lover lies swaddled in 3 of my lustrous arms, smiling music, fragrant of neroli, ambrette, cashmeran, and overabundance of tobacco. High to the wayside, none of this figures in, none of this usual signifies a frick, keinen einzigen Augenblick. I have declared what is waste to be golden, and so must be given over to madness. Madness is delicate, madness is splendid, madness is tea roses against absinthe velveteen wallpaper and the gloomy crystal melody of the glass harmonica, banned in Vienna for stealing the sanity of the nervous. I spread the bed in French flax linen and sateen pillows in sunset hues. I strew it with finger cymbals, brass ones. I brew the fine dragon pearl tea, for madness is coming. Oh, rolling pin of God, press out my fears and poisons. Turn me jelly and love through me and heal. Turn me jelly, love through me and heal. Sponge me from the countertop. This is my prayer. Accept my adoration. My injection of champagne, moonflowers, and comets, welcome. My hot bath extrudes my anxious folly, preserving the precious stones in my belly. My tender straitjacket, you prevent me flying away to realms of pandemonium and turmoil. My daily turn around the garden, in the kindness of the afternoon, cloaks me in unseen beams of the moon. The end. Thank you for listening to Moon Devoured. I might have fumbled a word or two, so pick up your copy of A Howling Breakfast of Moon Soda, where the print will get it right. Chapbook concluded. I thank you. And that is today's episode. It's National Poetry Month 2025, so we gorged on some moon poetry and a poem to song in celebration. Poetry is indeed a big deal to me, and I often forget that everyone else is not necessarily seized with the same thrill that I experience. But hey, we spent some time in the poetic realms, and I dig it. Tune in to Breakfast Poetry Live every day. Live streams about poetry early in the morning, YouTube on Thursdays, otherwise always on Instagram. And on Fridays, we roll the dice for poetry prompts. And I draw daily poetry prompts on cards from the Universe deck. Find out about the Universe deck in our sister podcast, Poetry Freaks, episode 10. Just released a couple of weeks ago. You can form your own Universe deck of 100 words that are suiting your whole being, right? And you can pull them for prompts. I pull 3 a day and write a poem for the next day, all through National Poetry Month. So get some poetry in ya. You just did. Get some more. Breakfast Poetry Live, Poetry Freaks the podcast, and all the April podcasts ever in Podcast in A minor. Thank you for listening. See you next time. My star, the Encyclopedia Neurotica. It's my role in the play, and I must, and I